2 years, removed 7 times and millions of players. This is the rise and fall of Fortnite's best game mode, Late Game Arena. But how did we get here? On the 21st of July 2021, during Chapter 2 Season 7 of Fortnite, World Cup winner Bugha finally got his own icon skin, but unlike the majority of other icon skins, Bugha was lucky enough to also receive his own limited time game mode, simply called Bugha's Late Game. This was a very new concept as players spawned straight into the 4th storm circle with materials and a loadout already. It also had its own win screen, and if you managed to get 10 eliminations in one game, you became Bugha. It was extremely popular and it even had a tournament held for it, with $14,000 being given to the winning team on Europe servers. But ultimately, as it was a limited time mode, it was removed along with Bugha's skin from the item shop after only 10 days, and this disappointed a large amount of Fortnite's player base. But fast forward only 17 days later, and on August 17th, 2021, Bugha's Late Game was re-released under the new name Late Game Arena. There is not much information out there on why the game mode was re-released under a new name, but we can presume it was something to do with the contract Bugha and Fortnite would have had. This would also explain why every trace of Bugha was removed in this re-release, with the custom win screen and the feature where you could become Bugha after reaching 10 eliminations being completely removed. Nevertheless, this new Late Game Arena was just as good as before, with it arguably being slightly better, as solos was also available alongside trios as an option for the game mode. The end of Chapter 2 Season 7 was now fast approaching, and there was no certain future for Late Game Arena. And ultimately, on the 13th of September 2021, Chapter 2 Season 8 The Cube season was released, and with it came the unfortunate removal of Late Game Arena. At the time, not many people were talking about this change, as it was overshadowed by all the new weapons, items and locations introduced with the new season. Then, strangely, only a few weeks into the new season, Fortnite announced that Late Game Arena would be returning as a core game mode on October 5th after a solo Late Game Cup on October 1st, followed by a Trios Late Game Cup on October 2nd. It is unclear why Late Game Arena was removed for the first few weeks of the new season, but my best guess is that Fortnite were just working on improving it, as some changes were made before it was added back. These included the removal of bus fare in the point system, making it a lot easier to go up the divisions, the addition of reboot vans which were usable in trios, and lots of small changes to the storm and how the game worked, which made it all run a lot smoother. All of this combined with some more tournaments being held for the game mode made Late Game Arena's popularity skyrocket this season, and it was at an all-time high. Nearly every pro player and content creator was either streaming or making content playing this game mode, and videos like Mr. Savage's "We won 6 out of 12 games in the Late Game Trios Cup" and Saw Dylan's exposing player stats in Late Game Arena gained millions of views and really proved the game mode's success. Personally, this season I played Late Game Arena every day, and I played it a lot more than the normal arena game mode, which allowed me to rack up over 12,000 points by the end of the season, and a few good performances in some of the solo tournaments. By now, Chapter 3 was on the horizon, and sadly, once again, on the 5th of December 2021, Late Game Arena was removed, and again there was no explanation given by Epic. Then, for the next few months, lots of players in the community were posting and talking about the lack of Late Game Arena, but there was no reply or comments given by Epic. Personally, apart from Chapter 3 Season 1, Chapter 3 as a whole was a slightly rough patch for Fortnite, and there were some very forgettable seasons, but I really think Late Game Arena could have made it a lot more entertaining and really improved it. But not all hope was lost, as around 6 months later on August the 24th, 2022, during Chapter 3 Season 3, Fortnite announced on Twitter that Late Game Arena would be returning in the mid-season update on August the 30th. This was clearly an extremely popular idea, as the post gained nearly 80,000 likes and hundreds of notable players like Bugha, Nick30 and Somerset were in the replies celebrating this announcement. And I know what you're thinking now. At worst, we'll get another season of enjoyment from Late Game Arena, right? Wrong. This was the worst attempt Fortnite has ever had at re-adding a game mode everyone was excited for, and for good reason. But why was it so bad? Well, strangely enough, it was all to do with something we all know too well now: Creative 2.0. This is where things get weird. This time around, Fortnite decided to make a brand new version of Late Game Arena using an early version of Creative 2.0 called Creative Royale. It was really strange, as it was the normal Battle Royale island, but all the mechanics and overall feel of the game were just like you were playing Creative. The game started just like a Creative map with a countdown before players were released and allowed to glide down, and the game ended just like a Creative map with a lag spike and no Victory Royale screen. A big change was also made to the loadouts, with only one player in the lobby getting a pump shotgun and everyone else stuck with one of the shotguns that was in the current loot pool. All of these issues could have been fixed easily or even ignored, but there was a much wider issue, and that was simply just the unbearable lag. It's not clear why, but no matter how good your ping was or if you were on a top of the range PC, your game would be insanely slow and freeze while playing Late Game Arena, especially off spawn. Console players had it even worse, and it was basically unplayable on the majority of consoles. There was also meant to be a series of tournaments, including some cash cups held in Late Game Arena throughout September, but after less than half of them took place, Fortnite had to cancel the rest of them and blamed it on technical difficulties. For the rest of Chapter 3 Season 3, we were stuck with this terrible version of Late Game Arena, and ultimately on the release day of Chapter 4 Season 4, September 18th, 2022, Late Game Arena was vaulted yet again. Fortnite did make a series of tweets mentioning that they were working on Late Game Arena, but it just kept getting delayed for no clear reason. I couldn't find much information on it, but Late Game Arena was eventually added back for the final time at some point in Chapter 4 Season 1. From what I remember and these clips of me playing it, the game mode was slightly better this time around in terms of lag, and a few tournaments were held with a singular final cash cup. But by this point, the hype around Late Game Arena had properly died, and many players didn't even have an interest in playing it after all the bad experiences with it in the past. Towards the end of the season, Fortnite quietly announced on Twitter that going into Chapter 4 Season 2, Late Game Arena would be vaulted, and at the time there was no reason behind this, but it didn't really matter, as by this point not many people cared. In hindsight, the reason behind this would have been that Arena was getting replaced later on in Chapter 4 Season 2 by the new ranked game mode, so the Epic Games developers were busy with that, and if Late Game Arena was going to stay, it would have to be rebranded as Late Game Ranked, and that alone would be a lot of work. It's safe to say that we will never see Late Game Arena again, but there's always the possibility that we will get a Late Game Ranked mode. At this point, no one knows for sure. If you genuinely enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and watching this video on screen now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.